All right, guys, baseball update for the last day of spring training. I've been selling baseball algorithms. People care. You should care. I mean, I have no problem. I'm actually thinking about raising the price again as opening day happens because this thing's worth so much money because of what you can do with it. And also for this, you're asking me to do additional work and do additional things on this. I'll do some of them. I certainly entertain a lot of good ideas, but I'm also stopping working on this April 10th, and I'm not kidding about that. I'm stopping and moving on to other projects. Like we got tax season, we got a lot of other things going on, and so I'm here to teach you how to use this. And there are a lot of videos. So well, a lot of you are going to ask me questions about doing things, and I'm going to point you back to a series of videos that you can watch, and this will be one of them. So this is a video where we're not only going to talk about what the picks are going to be today and how to test out what the spring training picks are for today's game. We're going to talk about that, today's games. But we're also going to talk about what if you want to change one of these variables and you want to look at something different here. How do you do it? Because I got asked that, and that's a great question. And it's a question I'm certainly willing to answer, which is to explain how you change something like team batting average to a different stat. So we're going to get into that toward the end of this video because I want to run the sample for today first, being Tuesday. So we've got some games in here. I just updated right about now, a little after 1 o'clock on the East Coast. A couple games have already started. With this new pitch clock and stuff, maybe things are happening faster. Maybe there's already maybe this game's already over an hour and 20 minutes in. That'd be awesome. I doubt it, but let's take a look. So MLB says that the Braves are, sorry, the Yankees are Toronto. What is this here? Blue Jays are up 4-1 right now. Yankees are down 1-0, and Braves are up 1-0, and Minnesota, Pittsburgh are 0-0. Okay, not final scores yet, but we're going to just put something in there because I want to show you how we start looking at everything. Couple things. I already grabbed lineups and updated the lineups. I've talked about how to update that in previous videos. Not going to talk about it now. But one thing that matters is they don't even have expected lineups for these late games, unfortunately. And that's okay because it's spring training. This is why you can't really do this appropriately in spring training. So this is wrong. So what you can know is when you look at your matchup sheet, you have zeros down here, and you got a really low number also for the Cubs. And that's because the Cubs are playing a bunch of minor league guys also that don't have any stats. So all these games down here are super sketchy when it comes to lineup factors. Just nothing we can do about it. It means we're going to get bad information today for this video. So understand that. But who cares? We're going to run it anyway, assuming the information wasn't bad. But it's bad, and I wouldn't act on it for betting purposes in these games because you don't know what's going to happen in these games with no lineups. But let's run everything, like I said. So here's how you run everything and how you check about the order that it's going to give you of the teams to play. And we have lines so that I'm going to add some profit into the situation as well. So the testing cube is now blank. Okay, good. That means we can run the macro. U macro, run the test 25 macro. What this does is it gives me a second to sip on coffee. And it also puts 25 different combinations of all these variables up here. These variables at the top row that we're doing different distributions of different amounts of weights that we weight different variables based on a historical experience and also just the sample of things. And we're also naming those combination strings. So we're giving them names. Like one of them is only about pitcher win percentage. One is only about pitcher whip. One is only about ERA. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of different combinations and names and stuff. One is almost no pitching stats, I said. So we're going to start naming them and working on them over the first few weeks of the season. But that's what we just ran in this testing cube. And once we're done with that, we just go to the browse testing cube and we click refreshed. Our date's going to be right. Our date is right. This is 28th. We're going to refresh, and then you can start collapse entire field here to see the actual games. These are the games. do it like this with combination number and a name pop up. See what I'm talking about. I want to be able to show you kind of how we're going to browse through this. So we've got our list and it's sorting descending by margin, and it's applying an average power to everybody. And it's also telling you if you won or lost the game so far. So it would say that the Yankees would come back against the Nationals in the fifth inning if this was a real game. We'll see if they actually do in spring training. We would say that's number one pick, and it says they have not scored any runs yet. Atlanta's up to a 1-0 lead, thinks they put up 6 runs and they win, right? It says Milwaukee beats Colorado. This is the margin, which we do care about. The closer the margin, the closer the game. And also, the better the power, the better it is for this team. So it's like he really thinks the Yankees would win. It has the Yankees is the strongest power team of all of them. And the Nationals not very good with a huge margin here. So, it's really surprising if the Yankees don't come back and win. But is it, it's spring training. It's not, doesn't count really. So that's kind of why it's really, really, really tough. They're not going to be pitching, a starting pitcher late into the game or anything. Absolutely not, because it's not the point of spring training. Now, it's interesting that our average percentages are really low. I think that's because we have no lineups for those games. Is that right? Yeah, these games are bad to look at. So the late games, which I wonder, now it's going to be tough to look at time in there, but I think we do have time actually. Could create a slicer for time. We do have different times of these games. It's going to be under date, or is there an actual time? I think it's the date with the, no, that's the regular date. I thought there was a time number. Let's see if we have the actual time of the game. Yeah, game time. We do have game time. So we can add a slicer for game time. The problem is that the format's going to be all screwed up. And where are you, game time? Right here. Yeah, I don't forget, but you see it comes up in this, unfortunately, this number format. It's not doing the date format appropriately. Now, that's annoying, but we can still accomplish what I want to accomplish, which is I don't want to show the late games. The late games are going to be the numbers that are the highest numbers, I think. So the last 3 numbers, definitely, this is like the 9 o'clock game, I think, right? That's the late game. And this one's the one before it. And then this one's the one before it, which is also bad. Well, we'll leave the Cubs-Cleveland game. So that's how you know the time. The order of the time is the latest game is the latest one on this list, even though it's showing as a number for those who care. All right. So assuming we just did that, that's kind of cool. We can. So basically what we want to do is we want to not show the ones that I just showed. So we'll unfilter everything and show the rest of them. We won't show those last 2. And we get these set of games. And what this means is that basically this one's a tough one because you hardly have lineups, but these other ones are still on here. And all these are favorites. What? Really? Oh, man. Are you odds makers already using the algorithm? Darn it. That's weird. What about all games? Wow. Yikes. Yikes. That's scary, guys. Yeah, you're not supposed to have all favorites this early. Uh-oh. Well, we're gonna see what happens opening day. So yeah. All right. Well, that's making me want to talk about something else. So opening day is on Thursday. I'm doing a unlisted video for opening day to everybody who subscribed. So they won't be public before the games because you deserve it. You paid for this. If you want access to that video, you have to pay me some amount of money. Just go to my website, figure it out, and send me some amount of money, and I will give you access to the unlisted video. But the file and the first access to the unlisted video, which is going to go up as soon as they announce lineups for opening day, which will be sometime on Wednesday, I think. I think they are going to do it the day before. When they do that, I will update the file, do the video talking about how I updated it, and give you actual predictions because we'll have actual starting pitchers and these teams are supposed to matter. As for today, it's spring training, and I can't believe we have all favorites. Yikes. All right. Well, that's not good news that they're all favorites, unfortunately, for those that are wagering. I'm not wagering, so I don't care, but you guys are going to care. That sucks. So let's go and talk about other things to do in this file when you're learning how to use it. So I got asked today, can you use a different stat, Ken, for batters? Can you use bat hip or something? What did you say? You said use a different batter stat. I don't see whatever the stat is that you were talking about in the batters list, which is where we would want. So basically what we have is we have a weight of all the different ways we weight a batter. And I think what you're asking to do is you want to create whatever stat you were talking about called BATWIP. What was it? It was called I don't know. You gave me some abbreviation of bat and hits and innings, something. It was a weird word I hadn't seen before. Well, whatever stat it is, if you can't emulate it here by changing the different percentages up here, like if it has to do with like at bats, you might need to add at bats into our formula that does actually we have at bats in here. You can weight at bats if that's part of it, or something divided by at bats or something like that. You can add a little bit of that. You see that'll change percentages. If people got a lot of at bats, but I don't do that because it doesn't really matter for at bats. But if you want to look at weight something by games, you can do it here, and that'll change the C score of the player. So you can add, if you want to do something by player when it comes to their stats, I would try to do it here because that's going to affect the lineup factor and their offensive part of their lineup factor, basically. Okay. So if you want to add it there, fine. Now, if you want to do something else, though, meaning you want a different stat here, and it's related to a team, well, then you can do it pretty easily by finding whatever stat that is related to the team and putting it here and then weighting it. So like team batting average is what I'm using. I went with another essentially offensive stat because we have lineup factor as an offensive stat. Average runs per game is an offensive stat, which helps us identify scoring, kind of. That's one of the reasons. It helps with the projected scoring, these numbers here, because it gives us a kind of a baseline to work off of for the game and to build the score around this average in some fashion. So that's why we have this here. But we could do something else offensively, and I went with batting average. But I can tell batting average is not good because look at the only slight differences between all teams. It's only between 26% and like 22%. So there's only a very small range here. So this is not a good stat. So let's do a different one. What are we going to do? Well, let's look at we won't do a person-oriented stat. We'll do another team stat, some type of team batting stat. Now we've got two different stats of batting. These are all related to 2021. Where did we get these? We get these from RotoWire. We get it from Fantasy Sports, MLB. It's under stats and team stats. There's a team stats and I think an advanced. No, it's just the team stats one. It's this one, and it's the betting basic, betting advanced, pitching basic, pitching advanced. Those are the four that I grab. I don't grab base running, and I don't know. Maybe I'll look into that. I didn't even know what that one was. What is that? Huh. I'll consider adding this. Base running could be another way to talk about potential stats. It doesn't relate to batting as much, except maybe kind of shows up sometimes in RBIs and it kind of backs into some numbers. But like stolen bases and stuff does not appear on the batting basic, right? Don't. Oh, it does appear on here. All right, so it is on there. Well, anyway, I guess we have enough, but we get the basic and the advanced, and we put it right here. I think advanced goes in this one, and the basic goes right here. So we've got a bunch of different stats for every single team, and I chose to use batting average, which I think is not good. So, well, let's look at something else of interest in here. Runs per game, we already have that. What's PA? Plate attempts. Walks, Ks, strikeout, average, on base percentage. On base percentage is kind of an interesting one. I don't even know, what is slugging? I've heard that term forever. This is one of those I want to ask Google. Should we ask Google? Should we ask Bing? Let's ask somebody. What is the slugging percentage in baseball? Going straight up.
According to MLB.com, slugging percentage represents the total number of bases a player records per at bat.
The number of bases they get per at bat. So as we pour some more coffee here, I'm thinking when it comes to offense, bases per at bat is an interesting team one. I think so. Let's see what our range of slugging numbers is. It's from probably about 0.4, let's call this a percentage, 44% to 39%. So our range here is not as tight as it was for batting average, which was between 26% and 22%. There's only a 4%. Here it actually is only about a 4% range, though. Darn it. I guess that doesn't necessarily matter. What about on base percentage? 77 to 60. I'm liking on base percentage a little more because there's a wider range there. Oh, wait a minute. There's the BAPIP. You wanted BAPIP. Oh, that's what the guy wanted. Hold on. It's here. We're going to use it. Yay. Okay. Whatever this is. All right. Well, I could ask Google. Let's ask Google. We're doing straight up Google. We have so many different AI sources we can choose, but let's try Google. What is the BABIP team stat in baseball? Google.
According to MLB.com, BABIP measures a player's batting average exclusively on balls hit into the field of play, removing outcomes not affected by the opposing defense.
What? BABIP measures a player's batting average only on balls hit into the field of play, removing outcomes not affected by the opposing defense, namely home runs. What? All right, my brain doesn't work on it. So it's an exclusive batting average, but what is it omitting? Affected by opposing defense, home runs and strikeouts. What? Well, so this is going to be higher than the person's normal average for some reason. We're seeing that. And supposedly we're excluding out opposing defense. How can you exclude out opposing defense if you're calculating an average? What the hell are you talking about? Only balls hit into the field of play. So what's a ball that's not hit into the field of play? A strikeout. So you're talking about giving me a batting average without strikeouts? Why is that relevant? Strikeouts part of your batting average because you didn't get a hit. I don't understand why we're using this. But you know what? I don't care. I'm going to do what you said. You're going to use it just because I don't like average. I don't necessarily agree with your email now after reading what that is, but I'll do it for you anyway because we're learning. So we're putting BAPIP here. All right. Or BAPIP. Base batting average on balls in play. Batting average on balls in play. I used to know a girl I called Babs. That's what I think of when I see that word, Babs. Anyway, all right, what's our BAPIP? We're going to write a formula for it. Well, because we have this, team batting area right here. Team batting area. I'm going to bring it over to close to the matchup sheet so we can code it close to the sheet we're working on right now. So we have this team batting sheet and we have this BAPIP. And one of the things we do in this file is we always streamline our team names and make sure that we're using the same three-character abbreviation or 3 or 2 characters. I think some of the teams have 2 characters like KC. 2 or 3 character abbreviation that we use for the team always identifies it as the streamlined abbreviated name for that team. We also try to keep these team names streamlined as well, but this is the one we really care about, is the small acronym character. So this is always going to be the appropriate team name reference, which also appears here in the matchup sheet under team, right? So we want to connect the team's BAPIP right here. That can easily be done with a VLOOKUP formula, which I already started one because we've already been working in the team batting sheet already when we grabbed average. So the formula we already had in there went all the way from column A to I in the batting ship and went 9 columns over after it looked for K3, which is the team. So it looked for the team and went 9 columns over from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, where average is. Well, we now want 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and we want to go over to column N, and we want to go 14. And now we've got a BAPIP number here. We're going to copy, paste as formula FX, paste as FX, and now we have BAPIP for everybody. And we've just changed this, and it's slightly different now. Yeah. But because these are all so close together, it doesn't have a huge impact on anything because all these ranges are really, really close. You can see, well, I mean, I shouldn't totally say it. I shouldn't completely say that, because what you could do is we could look at rerun this, for example, to see how this differs from average. It's actually a really cool exercise. Check this out. So right now we have a category for just BAPIP. Or it was batting average was what it was, right? It was this one for team batting average. It was already in here. Why that's still team batting average already did this today when that's the only thing you look at. So the question is, does it affect anything and change anything from compared to BAPIP? I'm going to put the order of the team batting average. Then we're going to go back and we're going to rerun the whole macro right now with what will be BAPIP. Will be in here now. So let's rerun the macro. And we'll see if the order of BAPIP is slightly different and changes anything. It's not going to change much in this prediction for the day, but using only BAPIP, it will slightly change stuff, because that's the only thing we're going to look at. So we'll see if BAPIP differs at all much from average and whether it's even worth it. Okay, refresh. Oh, wow, it changed. You win, John. You're right. It changed. This is what it is now. Cleveland went to number 1 instead of number 3. White Sox, with everything changed. Now it's still called team batting average. We need to actually change that because it's now called BAPIP. This is now BAPIP. All right, team batting, called BAPIP, BAPIP, and it's BAPIP everywhere now. That won't change automatically in the pivot until we run the macro again, but that's what it is. So you win. You got BAPIP in the file by asking me. Good for you. And if you bet on spring training today, you have a gambling problem. That's what I said. I said don't worry about it. But yeah, if you want access to the private video for the unlisted video for opening day to get it before. Otherwise, I'm not releasing that till after the games. Like everyone's got to pay for that. I'm not doing work for free anymore. So if you want to pay for that, send me some money. I'll give you access to that video. Doesn't have to be a lot because you're just watching a video. If you want the files and get on the email list to subscribe to everything, to get a copy of this every day so that you can learn more off these videos and use it for yourself and put your own factors in here, then go pay for the subscription, which is $175 right now till April 10th, and you'll get an email from me every day. Otherwise, just follow along, subscribe, like, whatever. We're going to win some games. We're going to run some games because I can't I can believe, but I'm saddened that it's already looking like this. How is that because every team's kind of a slight favorite? Is everybody minus 115? Like, what were all the lines? All right, well, maybe this is just a crappy day for that. Nobody knew what was happening, so everybody was minus 110 or plus 110. So that doesn't make it that bad that we had all the favorites on here. But I'm not kidding with you when I tell you that this will make the lines every day because all my algorithms make the lines every day. They're the best that have ever been made. Right. So good luck. May all your picks be winning.